Freya returned to Keltoy and lives as a farmer. She gives motivational speeches to the children of Keltoy every weekend. Oh, come on. Bam is taking it easy while enjoying his gigantic stash of catnip. Bippy and Slippy visit every weekend, and together they go on random adventures. Mishima ran for mayor of Adapterion. Her reputation as electropunk who defeated the Sworn Light helped her win by landslide. Those without cardio chips are now accepted to come on, man. Come on, man. All right. Well, that is towards the Pantheon. Conquered, defeated. I was thinking about doing a separate video for my thoughts on this game, but I think I'll just do a standard thoughts video on this one. And I'm assuming this is credits, and if it's not, then we'll just figure it out. But my overall thoughts, I'm not a very big indie game fan. I've played all of 2 indie games on stream. 3 indie games on stream. And one of them was Undertale. And I didn't really find myself much of a fan of really any of the indie games that I played. This one was actually a pleasant surprise, though. It does fit all of the criteria to which I would generally say, like, I don't really want to play this, or this doesn't seem like it should take time over any other game that I play. But the more I played this game, the more I enjoyed it. And it's kind of surprising to me, but it's also kind of not surprising. I mean, there's plenty of indie games out there that are fantastic and fun and enjoyable. It's just you really have to get over the hurdle of, well, I need to get used to the game that I'm playing and accept what it is, as opposed to what I want it to be, as in like the bar of quality, I suppose. So overall, I actually like this game a lot. It's kind of tempting to say, like, for an indie game, this game is pretty good, but it's actually better than that. I mean, it is a very solid game in of itself. And I was actually pleasantly surprised and pleasantly happy with the gameplay experience. For the story, was it satisfying? The story is actually kind of very much in the background. You kind of have to go out of your way to experience kind of what's going on with the story and progress it. So I would say that the story was moderately satisfying. For the most part, I think there could have been more sequences that kind of fleshed out what was going on, that were mandatory sequences to let you know, like, hey, this is how the world is working right now, and this is what's going on, and this is how you solve it, and this is why these particular factions are important, because they're doing X and all this other stuff. I don't think I've ever fought that enemy. Did it feel complete? It did feel complete. Nothing incomplete about it. How was the pacing? Pacing was pretty good. I mean, the whole game, we're just, going straight for the money. Let me see. Some thoughts on the story. It's a light story with some optional narrative development. I actually would say that the optional stuff was some of the best stuff in this game. I have here the campfire dialogue scenes are absolutely wonderful. They really capture the characters really well, and each one made me like the characters so much more than what they would have. If this game didn't have those campfire scenes, I'd probably not like this game that much. It's just, it would have just been an okay game. But those little moments of character development were just so nice, and I really enjoyed reading them, and that's why I read every single one of them, because I just liked them so much. Um, the characters, they're they're all just really wonderful. Whenever they start talking, they really do feel unique, and they have their own personality, and they have their own quirks. And Bam is by far my favorite. Bam is great. Bam, you're wonderful. Ooh, they give me my total game time. That is wonderful. Look at Finesse right there. Like, come on, man. What are you doing? For gameplay mechanics and design, this is not as fleshed out as I wanted it to be, but you know, this will work. What gameplay elements stand out? New party members start at level 1. This was particularly disappointing, but it didn't actually. The game experience didn't suffer much because of it. They got their levels pretty quickly and they started catching up, so that was nice. But it is a negative for me because you know why bother? You know why put yourself in that position? Dead party members receive experience. This might be the first game I've ever played that actually does that, and I wish more games would. There's there's really no reason that I can see why you would deny a character experience for dying in combat. The punishment for dying in combat is you don't get to use that character for the time that they're dead, and you probably got to use another character to revive them. That's that's significant punishment enough in my eyes. But you know, I guess I'm in the minority there when it comes to development philosophies and whatnot. Dead party members revive after battle. This is another great thing that this game does that I'm very happy about. Cards are consumables for combos. This is actually something that I didn't like. It didn't really come much into play later on, but for the most part, I kind of wish that you just unlocked the combos and then you found the cards, and the cards were permanent, and you know the cards are just harder to get. Maybe the packs were more expensive, yada yada. I think that would have been more enjoyable for me, but I didn't use very many of the combos, um, primarily because they were consumables. Probably should have used more of them, seeing as uh, I had so many cards. Let me see. The frequency of save points is wonderful, although saving everywhere would be preferable. I actually think uh, they handle the save points in this game very well. I mean, they're very frequent, but uh, one could say that for as frequent as they are, saving everywhere would accomplish the same purpose, and you could just still keep the tents there for the moments of the campsites, which would be totally fine. Could be an issue with BAM's EP recovery not recovering enough. Additionally, should probably have a few more skill points to recover more in total. I think it's snooze, what I'm referring to there. Um, there was a couple times in a few past streams where it says he recovers 8, but he only recovers 6. And I don't know if it's just me not seeing things correctly or something else going on, but there could potentially be a bug there. But I also think that, you know, his news should recover more EP. Um, Whether it's 6 or 8, that's not that much. Let's see. For combat, each character approaches combat in a different way, which is very cool. I actually like that, like Freya just has like these weapons, and these weapons have different types of customizations in terms of how you want to spend your SP for doing damage. I think it's not quite as balanced as it could be. In particular, uh, there's not much choosing between which one you want to do. It's just what it seems like, how much damage you're going to do based on the SP you have. And I think the weapons could have done more interesting things to warrant saving SP for a certain ability. That would be pretty enjoyable. You know, using sword attacks every turn so you can build up that 17 SP to attack 3 times with your bow or whatever. That would have been cool. It's confusing to have HP or have an HP and MP system, but have certain characters call it different things like EP, CPU, and GPU. Thematically, it's nice, but for clarity and design, it should be consistent. Uh, I think that's pretty self-explanatory there. Um, it's just kind of weird to have 3 different types of HP. and four different types of mana points or mana. Um, Although I guess finesse doesn't count because he uses HP, but you could have just made it consistent and it would have been totally fine. Healing spells can miss your own party members. This is obnoxious. This is incredibly obnoxious, and I despise it. There's not much more I can say about it. Let's see. Dungeons, I didn't really uh, get to have any favorites. I would say that spooky dungeon there at the end was incredibly spooky, and I'm just going to give props for that because I actually got scared once. Just, jump scares. They get me every time. No cardinal sins. For the sound, the music. Oh my goodness, the music. Music is so good. Oh wow, I missed that many campfire scenes. Oh my gosh. Wow, I missed every single side quest. Well, I found all the combos. Total dead memories. Missed out on a lot of stuff. Um, Music in this game is so good. I actually bought the soundtrack from the developer because I like the soundtrack so much. Uh, there's some hits on this one. There's no voice acting. Graphics. Standard run-of-the-mill pixel art. Other than oversaturation of the market, there is nothing wrong with this art style. This is one of those things where I mentioned like I'm not really all that into indie games, and that's because I'll probably get murdered for this, but like a lot of the indie games, if not most of the indie games out there, feel like they're the same. Um, there's a million and one pixel art platformers out there. There's a million and one turn-based RPGs out there with pixel art, and they all just look the same. They don't have any different aesthetics to them, and to a degree, this game kind of follows a similar style. It changes the things up a little bit with the combat. Uh, and the random encounters thing, which I did not mention, is absolutely fantastic, by the way. Having like the overworld where like two random encounters randomly spawn and you can fight them if you want, or you can avoid them and wait for them to despawn and just go around them. A wonderful idea and a great twist on random encounters. Um, but like indie games, they seem to just like fill in this blob, this nebulous blob, and it's difficult to find something that kind of stands out when everything looks the same. So there's really nothing wrong with the art style of like all the indie games out there. It's just there's so much of it that it doesn't stand out. So that's why I say standard, air quotes. Replay value. I don't think there's really too much replay value, but the game is short enough that you could probably just knock it out. I mean, I missed all 8 side quests, so dang, dang. Let's see. Anything else? I've unlocked New Game Plus. Okay, well, there's a New Game Plus. That might be enough. For the other category, there's a silent protagonist. I was very happy to see Freya say something at the end there. It was a very satisfying thing to hear her say. But I'm just not a fan of silent protagonists. It really is getting to the point where I just want to call it a cardinal sin. I was saying on Twitter not too long ago that one day RPG gamers will rejoice when the silent protagonist just finally dies. Um, I just don't like it as a concept. I want my characters to have a personality. I want to say I want my characters to be themselves, and I don't think you can be silent and be yourself um, when it comes to a character in a video game. You gotta talk. You gotta have some nuance in how you say things and special ways of how you want to go about things that is spoken. Um, the emotion of Freya is great. I think that was a nice way to differentiate Freya from other silent protagonists. But dialogue really is the the the, the, the punch, I guess. And the last category, if the developer is watching, I'm just gonna say it. I don't like indie games. You know, I have a hard time liking them, and I like this game. Overall, I like this game. I will definitely still say, if I saw this game randomly on Steam and I never played it before, I'd never pick it up. Um, it's just the game itself does not stand out for my own personal. I want to say standards, but it's not really standards. It's more like preference. But having given giving me the opportunity to play this game by giving me a code, um, kind of opened the door for some other indie games out there. So you were the first one, and I definitely got to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to play it. I'm happy with the game experience I played. I don't regret any of the 7 hours and 24 minutes or what have you that I played of it. Um, I had a good time. I really did. Um, I saw you were making some other games on your Twitter, so I hope those are even more successful than towards the Pantheon has been. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts for right now. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you on the next video, next playthrough, what have you. Peace.